What up, Dokkaners? The Super Saiyan 4 Goku Dokkan Festival has been around for over 1 day now, so the conversation now naturally goes to, will Global receive top grossing, and if so, how? Or how much? Of course we know how. They give it to us. How much? So that's what today's video is going to be all about. Short answer is yes, we will get it. Short answer is we will get basically the same amount that JP received. Long answer, allow me to explain. For those of you who are new to the game and don't know how top grossing works, I always recommend this at the top of every single video that explains top grossing, because our very own Proton did this lovely little write-up a couple years ago explaining exactly how top grossing works. And if a dummy like me can understand how top grossing works because of this, you know it's worth reading. Because if I can understand it, you can understand it. So this basically goes into detail on how the whole top grossing system works. I will give a TLDR for the sake of this video, but I highly recommend you do watch it. You do read it because it is very useful. The TLDR, when top grossing is calculated on Global and JP, it is different. For JP, the reason why it happens so fast is because they simply have to hit #1 for Dokkan in the app charts at any point during the day. Even if it's for a second, a millisecond, a nanosecond, a picosecond, a pentosecond? What's the smallest measurement? Pico? I think picosecond, whatever. You hit #1 at any point during the day, you get top grossing, which is why JP's players are always getting top grossing so fast. And probably when we get to full synchro where Global and JP do, have the same operating schedules, that will still probably remain to be this. That will probably be the same thing. Like JP will still get top grossing first. Global players will panic. They will think the end is coming because we now have full synchro and we still don't have top grossing. What gives? Omatsu cheated us. And then they will realize after a couple of days that Global needs a little bit more time for every region on the planet to tabulate their totals. And for Global, it has to do with who ranks #1 at the end of the day. At the end of the tabulation period, if a particular region hits #1 and stays there, they get it. So, for example, if France hits #1 on the 22nd hour of the day, so there's 2 hours left until the day ends, but they drop off and they are no longer #1 for the last 30 seconds, they will not get top grossing. So that's basically how it works. There's a great analogy in this piece. You definitely should read it. In terms of how long we typically have to wait for a top grossing to arrive, it's usually about 2 to 3 days, as shown by all of these different instances here. Usually the 3 days have been for anniversaries, like Int LR Rose Physical Broly Trio. That was 3 days. Wow. Tech Vegito, STR Gogeta. Oh, a second top grossing. I see. 6 days later. Interesting. All right. Anyway. Yeah, so generally speaking, it's about 2 to 3 days. So since it's already only been 1 day, we're not quite there yet. So maybe we can get top grossing as early as tonight, but maybe more likely tomorrow or the day after. Let's take a look at the charts and let's see how we did. Looking on the Android side, typically we don't expect anything good. This was November 3rd. So this is the first day that it happened. But I think for Android, it takes a little bit longer. So I really can't. I don't know if there's really going to be any movement. I mean, I guess there's a little bit, but we really only care about iOS because iOS is where the action happens. This is where the magic happens. So let's take a look at the charts here. So let's actually start with November 2nd. Kind of spoiled it already. November 2nd, this is what we had. November 2nd, for most of the world, wasn't when Super Saiyan 4 Goku released. For myself in the Pacific region and for everyone who's behind me, like Alaska, Hawaii, and those types of places, we obviously did get it on the 2nd. But for the most part, we're going to count the 3rd. So going into the 3rd, the 2nd, it was a jungle out there because there were no sales. There were no reasons to buy anything. So Dokkan was pretty much just, all over the place. But then we get order amidst the chaos on November 3rd, as now you see all these nice green arrows pointing up. And as you can see here on the left, in all categories, we've got Macau, Hong Kong, and Madagascar. France is 2nd? Really? I literally did not know this when I was making that analogy earlier. That is insane. Okay, wow. France and Luxembourg, 2 of our big leading countries, regions, were always dominating the charts, are at #2. That is very surprising. In all categories, no less. That is very surprising. But we still got 3. So given that JP received 30 stones, and given that we normally get 7 Dragon Stones per region, this would basically equate 21 Dragon Stones. But they are known to mess around with the numbers, fudge the numbers up a little bit to give the illusion of the similar success. So if they were to go with just this, the top 3 regions in all categories, then they would simply give us 10 stones times 3, and that's an easy fix to give us 30 Dragon Stones. Or they really could just give us 21 Dragon Stones. You can never be too sure with these guys. I'm sure the only time that we can be sure would maybe be like when we get to full synchro, because at that point there's no wiggle room. Like both regions are getting these celebrations at the same time, so it's kind of hard to hide that. But since these two celebrations did happen at very different times, I suppose you could give global only 21 and then maybe give the rest through other rewards or other means down the road. So if we go further though, we do have 5 regions in number 1 in games, which they have been known to use as well. Sometimes it's not about all categories, sometimes they do go to games. That would be 5. So with 5 regions multiplied by the usual 7, that gives us 35 Dragon Stones, which is still within, you know, the ballpark of 30. So global could get a W in this particular regard and get 35 Dragon Stones instead of 30. But again, we have no way of knowing. So regardless, in a couple of days, probably either tonight or tomorrow, later tomorrow, we should know it'll either be 21, 30, or 35. That's my best guess. And of course, you know, feel free to have yours in the comments down below. We go further than that, there's really no need. Games in action. Oh yeah, oops. Uh-oh. What'd I do? Games in action, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 down here. Oh wow, okay. US hit number 1 in games in action. You don't see that too often, do you? It's been a while since I've done a top grossing video, so I actually feel like I haven't seen this in a little while. The power rankings are very, very interesting here. So that's pretty much all that I've really got to tell you on this. Of course, we'll also receive the Hercule statues. We'll receive the Hidden Potential Orbs. As far as this wish strip thingy, we will be getting the MasterCard on global. We don't get this because this is like a JP thing. We'll get the same equivalent, but it's the card. You can use the card to exchange for one of these characters. I will be doing a separate video discussing who I think are among the best choices for this, because there are some really good units here. And also, you will be earning up to, I think, 6 or 7. So even if you make one choice that you don't necessarily agree with, there will be more chances to get other characters. But again, that's for a separate video. This is all about top grossing. And with your 30 Dragon Stones, are you going to be going back in for more summons, or are you going to be content with whatever summons you did? Because we do have Dragon Ball Heroes coming up. We do have the possibility of something maybe coming up during the New Year celebration. I only say this because now that it's been a day, there's probably a good chance that a lot of you who did do your summons have probably already completed your 3 cycles of summons. They've had step-up summons for the first 3 cycles, constituting, I think, about 330 stones. It's 30 plus 35 plus 45, so that's 80 plus 30. That's 110 for 4 multis. Then you were doing that 3 times. So for 12 multis, you are spending 330 stones, which is a pretty good deal when you look at it from that regard. So if you are done with those summons, are you going to be going back in more with these top grossing? I would say maybe it's better to not, especially if you're on the lower side, but hey, it's all up to you. And I'm sure once you get these stones, all bets are off. If you have any chance of self-control, the second you see those stones come in, it's over. I know that there's some of you out there, and hey, I get it. But that's why these games require some discipline, some responsible dokkaning, if you will. Best of luck. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like down below. Let in the comments your thoughts on the banner. How were your summons? Are you planning on going back in? How many stones do you expect global to receive for top grossing? Do you expect on the higher side of 30 or on the lower side of 30? And are you saving for anything else down the road, or have all of your eggs gone into the Super Saiyan 4 basket for now? Let me know your thoughts overall in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe for more Dokkan content in the future and click the notification bell so that you let YouTube know you want to see more of my stuff. Do it. Thanks again. Stay tuned and remember to Dokkan responsibly.